In 1694, England was desperate, locked in an expensive war with France and running out of money. The king could not raise taxes fast enough, and lenders were wary of a crown that had broken its promises before. So a group of merchants proposed a radical idea. What if they lent the government a vast sum, and in return were allowed to form a new kind of bank, a bank for the entire nation? That deal created the Bank of England, and it would quietly rewrite the relationship between money, debt, and the power of the state forever. We left off watching humanity pool money in ever grander ways, to preserve wealth, to chase profit, to share risk. Now comes the grandest pooling of all, the financial might of a whole nation gathered into a single institution, the central bank. To understand why this was revolutionary, consider a problem that had haunted rulers since the beginning. How does a government pay for things it cannot afford? Wars, especially, are enormously expensive. For centuries, a king had few options: raise taxes, which made people furious, seize wealth, which made enemies, or borrow from bankers, often at crushing interest, and sometimes simply refuse to pay it back, which is why lenders had learned to fear kings. The Bank of England offered a completely new answer. Here is the deal. A group of wealthy men agreed to lend the government £1.2 million, an immense sum at the time. In return, the government granted them special privileges, chief among them the right to operate as a powerful bank and to issue banknotes. But notice the genius and the strangeness of what happened next. The government did not intend to ever fully repay that loan. Instead, it would pay interest on it year after year. The debt became permanent, and rather than a source of weakness, this permanent national debt became the very foundation of the nation's financial strength. This is one of the most counterintuitive ideas in all of finance. We think of debt as bad, but a government is not like a person. A stable state need not pay off its debt entirely. As long as people trust, it will keep paying the interest reliably. That debt can be sustained and even grow safely. The nation's debt became a rock-solid investment that people wanted to own. And this unlocked something extraordinary. Because the government could now borrow reliably and at reasonable rates, it could fund massive projects and, above all, wars on a scale its rivals could not match. Strange as it sounds, the ability to borrow well became one of the most powerful weapons a nation could possess. Britain would build a global empire, funded in no small part by this machinery of debt and central banking. Now the second great power of this bank, money itself. The Bank of England issued paper banknotes. At first, these were essentially promises, receipts stating the bank held a certain amount of gold, payable to whoever carried the note. We have seen paper money before, in China, but this was different, and it points toward the modern world. These notes were backed by the credibility of a powerful, permanent institution tied to the state itself. As people came to trust the Bank of England, they accepted and traded its notes as if they were gold, because everyone believed the bank would honor them. Money, once again, was built on trust, but now that trust was anchored in a national institution designed to last for centuries. Over time, this evolved into the system we know today, a central bank at the very heart of a nation's economy, the ultimate issuer of its currency, the banker to the government, and the manager of the entire money supply. Nearly every country now has one, from the Federal Reserve in America to the European Central Bank, all descendants of the model pioneered in London in 1694. So step back and see the machine humanity had built, a government that could borrow enormous sums by selling its debt, a central bank to manage that debt and lend to the state, and a trusted paper money backed by that institution, greasing the economy. This was the birth of modern government finance, the dance of debt, banks, and paper money that still runs every nation on earth. It was a system of immense power, but it was also built on confidence, on belief, on the willingness of people to buy debt and trust paper. And whenever money is built on belief, a danger lurks close behind. The temptation to believe too much, to let confidence swell into a frenzy. Even as the world was learning to trust these new creations, companies, shares, and government backed schemes, that trust was about to be pushed to a catastrophic extreme. In 1720, not one but two enormous bubbles would inflate and burst in the same year, ruining thousands and humbling some of the smartest people alive. Even the great Isaac Newton would lose a fortune. And that is where we go next. Appreciate it if you subscribe, like, and share your thoughts.